Hello, welcome to another episode of Swapping Joysticks. Get your joysticks out. It is time for an exchange. I am your... sounds wrong, doesn't it? I am your host, Ben Ostick, otherwise known as Biggest Benners, and joining me all the way from Eurogamer is Ed Nightingale.
Getting my joysticks out for the lads.
Yes, luckily there's no camera below your chest. Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
What an intro.
Exactly, and we might be a little bit clearer than previous podcasts because I've gone and edited and changed a few of the...
You fiddled with your knobs.
I fiddled with a few knobs, yeah. It needed a bit of an update.
Wow, we're like 20 seconds in and we're already
I know.
like three dick
Some
jokes.
people at work listen to this.
Not on loudspeaker, I hope.
I hope not. No, I apologize. But yeah, welcome. This is the... What day will it be? 24th? And tonight, the night of recording... Maybe we'll put it out a day early. The night of recording, they have
Who's
just
the day?
announced... Well, if you let me finish my sentence, it'll be clear. They have announced a general election on July the 4th. So we'll have our own Independence Day. I'm sure everyone's going to make that joke.
Of
So
course.
yeah, and the good old Rishi Sunak, well, not good, not that old either. He was out in the rain with music blasting.
Boo-hoo.
Yeah, and yeah, we're going to get an election. Are you excited?
Not as excited as you. Only because I know that you are a complete politics nerd and you're going to take time off work and
Yep.
get super invested.
Mm-hmm.
So I will absolutely be invested and be voting. And I'm very excited about
That's all you need to do.
prospect about of a new government and a new start for the country.
Yeah.
But I know we're going to take this to an extreme.
Probably. I mean, yeah, you've never seen me during an election, have you? Election.
Wow.
Um,
I've voted with you.
You have, oh yeah, like the locals and stuff,
Yeah.
but not a general election. A massive election like this one. I studied politics at university, so I am definitely a nerd when it comes to politics. And it's kind of my other geeky obsession alongside video games, and I'll follow it and worldwide. Like I like to try and know what's going on in other countries, but yeah, when it's at home, it's obviously a bit special. And we've had like 14 years now of Tory rule, so it'll be nice for them to get a good hiding and disappear.
We'd like a change, please.
Yeah. So make sure you've registered to vote, and also that you've got ID, because the gerrymandering and the disenfranchisement? Franchisement? Yeah. I don't know. Disenfranchisement? I don't know.
I don't know what you're saying.
That they're trying to make it harder for people to vote that maybe don't vote for them. Which, yeah. So apparently last night
Don't be a Boris.
don't
Forget your ID.
Yeah, don't forget. Make sure you're registered to vote, and don't forget your ID, and make sure you've got the right type as well, like your passport or your driving license, or I think you can get a free one on the government website. But yeah, go and make sure you vote, because otherwise, shit will hit the fan. And there's no way that they're gonna get in, and I don't even need to touch wood, because there's no way that the Tories are gonna win the election, or we're gonna have a Keir Starmer prime minister in a few weeks. 6 weeks.
That's quick.
That is, yeah, like in like a week and a bit, we'll be able to say, oh, the election's next month. It's like, yeah, very, very, very quickly. But yeah, are you excited about the prospect of a bit of change?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, you say your two nerdy obsessions are video games and politics. Have there been any good elections in video games?
Well, I'm looking forward to that. What's the one that's coming out from...
Metaphor Refantatio.
yeah, but apparently that is election.
Yeah, that's the next game from Atlas, who make Persona, and it's Persona gameplay, but all around an election, and sort of you're on the campaign trail, which is your quest. I'm very excited about that.
I don't think I've ever seen... I know that there was a game when I was very young, like, I say very young, it was like high school, college, and there was a game, and I think it was a PC-based game, and it was like a general election simulator or something, and apparently it was almost impossible to win, and it was very, very nerdy. You chose policies, and you had to kind of put your funding in various things. I never played it, but my friend Arnie, who I used to do a podcast with a long, long time ago, a political podcast, he played that and was talking about it and stuff. But I've never actually... I mean, maybe there are ones with elections. I mean, like Persona games have politics in them quite a lot. Politicians.
I mean, there's a lot of games that have politics in them.
And politicians.
It's more about, is there specifically an election?
Yeah, where you could like influence it. Probably is what I'm going to say. I mean, have played, what's it called? Tropico. There's no elections there. You get to ban all elections because you play as the dictator.
Oh.
So, yeah.
And did you enjoy that?
No, because I played it just after... Oh, God, what game? I think I played it just after Anno. And Anno 1800, it's a very polished game. And then Tropico is a bit kind of rough around the edges. But no, I've never done that. But no, it will be fun. And I'm going to be, very, very nerdy for sure.
Great.
Over the next... But then I'm hoping there'll be a return to kind of boring politics.
Some stability for a while.
Yeah. I thought you were going to ask the question, like, have there been any video game kind of policies and stuff? Because obviously, like, the video game industry is such a massive, industry. It's, bigger than music and film and whatever combined. So I'm like, why aren't there that many policies made around British video games? And the British video game market is kind of... I feel like the Tories have tried to... I don't know, actually. I haven't really been paying much attention, but I think they realise that it is quite an important thing and there's a lot of money involved, so they've tried to help.
Anybody cares about video games, man, in politics. Like, yes, it brings in a lot of money and money talks, but also the reputation of games is still... in the general press is still, it's that silly little hobby that little teenage boys do in their bedrooms. Yeah. And I'm like, no, that's masturbation. Maybe with games. I don't want to use that controller if that's the case. Yeah. Do not swap that joystick.
I mean, you say that. I mean, what's the name of the podcast?
Well, but that I think is the general reputation of video games, and as opposed to like a decent industry that makes money. Now, I think if you combine it with the tech industry, then you get Rishi Sunak. Rishi Sunak at like AI conventions or whatever else he's been doing, and swanning around with the heads of tech. But then all they want to do is keep money for themselves, and the government will bow to them.
Here we go. An article from the 30th of May, 2023. So very literally a year before. Well, not literally, but pretty much a year ago. The government wants to find out more about the UK's booming video games industry, including whether its products harm users' mental health. I think it's maybe the other way around. Yeah. Some of the world's best-selling games, including Grand Theft Auto and Football Manager, are made in the UK. Over half of British adults play video games, and the industry is worth £2.8 billion to the UK economy. But the government says not enough research has been done on how it can benefit the wider economy. It also wants to research how games... So research have been asked to look into things.
I'm sorry, they're researching it.
And that was a year ago.
Last year, when video games are around for like a good 30 years and are very much a British industry.
Yeah.
Wow. Catch up, guys.
Oh, and there's actually an article by George Osborne in The Guardian called Pushing Buttons. Not swapping joysticks, but pushing buttons. How your vote could change the way games are made in the UK. Exploring why games have become intertwined with politics and what that means for the discerning video game vote.
Which George Osborne is that?
Without the E.
Yes, I know him.
Not the former Chancellor.
Yes, the other one. Yeah, I know him. He used to work for Yuki's.
I think we saw him, didn't we?
Yes. He's a nice guy.
Yeah. Oh, and apparently there was literally a week ago, the government responds to the No Killing Games campaign. Because they were trying to lobby them to have a law about making sure that every video game that's released can be stored or can go into open source or something like that, didn't they?
Yes. And this response is not from a week ago. It's just that no one picked up on it.
Is it really?
Recently. Yes.
Do not know if people sign it, but...
well, no, people just didn't notice the government response. And the government response was, we have no response.
Well, the response was like... they said, literally the petition says, please change the law to require video game publishers to keep games that they've sold in a working state. And the UK government response was, but that's not the law now. And we're like, yeah, I know. That's why we want it changed.
Yeah. Well done. Slow clap.
Yes. No, I feel like, I don't know. That's the thing, is like, we don't know. We don't know what anyone's policies are on video games, and I doubt there would be any video game related policy in these manifestos going forward, like they're going to be released. So
vote for us and every household will get a PlayStation 5.
Better than an Xbox. Well, so yeah, that was like my intertwined
more interesting and probably more practical is around internet providers and any laws around that.
Yeah.
And wasn't there. Oh wait, no, it was the previous guy who wanted to.
Trump.
No.
So he was one that they did their net neutrality thing over there, wasn't it? Oh no, but here they wanted to bring a type, didn't they?
Didn't they want to make internet access for everyone or something?
The internet free for like. Corbyn.
I don't know. There was Corbyn. Didn't he have an internet thing?
Possibly.
Oh,
I don't know.
You're meant to be the font of knowledge. Man.
I don't know. I wasn't like, yeah. I didn't really pay too much attention to his politics because I knew he was never going to get elected. But yeah, maybe I should have done. But you know, that's the thing. I mean, I was just quickly looking at like what other video games. There was a video game called, I think it was called President Elect, a turn-based political simulation game from 1981. But then it was like there was a sequel, and I think you can play it on the PC. But anyway, yeah, there was when I talk about video games, it's like there are video games that politicians use. Right? Remember Animal Crossing and Biden Island? Animal Crossing.
Yeah,
I wonder if there'll be anything in Minecraft or like Roblox. Well, Roblox not because it's such a young audience, but something like Fortnite when you can create. I mean, it's probably a little bit because this has been such a surprise, this election. Like nobody expected it to be in July because it makes absolutely no sense for the general election to be in July. It sounds like he's got kind of bored and was like, you know what, I'm just going to call an election. So I think like there won't be the chance to kind of build a world in Fortnite that you can visit and experience their, you know, ideal future or learn about their politics.
Sorry, you just reminded me because you mentioned Minecraft there. Sadiq Khan, the London mayor, is in Minecraft.
Yes.
Because I wrote a story on it in January 2023.
Oh.
London Mayor Sadiq Khan is now in Minecraft helping to redesign Croydon.
Oh, God.
That's an actual story that I wrote.
Wow. I vaguely remember that, yeah.
There he is on the left.
Brilliant. Oh, is that the Amy thingy on the right?
Sorry, on the right.
Is it?
I think that's meant to be him on the right.
It's inside right, not on the far right. That's a lady.
Yeah, that's a lady. Yes. Sorry, you can't see.
That's a white lady. So yeah,
that's a white lady. That is not Sadiq Khan.
No, but that's cool. Yeah, we're. I mean, I haven't spoken to him, but I know he is involved in games. And like he understands kind of.
He's down with the kids.
He understands entertainment and video games and wrestling. Like he literally posted, been like, "Let's get WrestleMania in London." Like he has been briefed. Whether he's a fan himself, I don't know, but he has advisors who understand this stuff and like. Bringing, for example, the League of Legends World Championships are coming to London this year, and apparently that's a massive thing.
It is.
So the world.
I would love it if Sadiq Khan just went home and was like playing Fortnite or something.
Yeah. What game would he play? That'd be a good question. Like, what games would politicians play? What would like Rishi Sunak's game of choice be? What would Keir Starmer's choice of game be?
This is the thing. I'm like, do they go home and just play something really basic? Like Fortnite because they play it with their kids.
Yeah.
Or do they go home and play something really violent, like I don't know, playing GTA, and they actually do GTA roleplay and do something really bad?
Oh yeah, maybe.
Or are they going for like Crusader Kings to be like dictators?
I think Rishi Sunak would definitely play Crusader Kings or Manor Lords and create his own manor first before like everyone else will be just impoverished.
Yeah.
I can see Keir Starmer just being a FIFA person. He's a massive, massive football fan. Like he's obsessed with football, which is going to be weird because it's going to really play
FIFA or Football Manager.
I think FIFA because he actually plays football.
Yeah.
So he's more of that person. But no, I just still don't understand why they picked 4th of July because it's in the middle of the Euros. That's all I kept thinking was the Katy Perry thing, and I was like, no, it makes me sound really, really gay. But doing it on the 4th of July, which is in the middle of the Euros, which is like, I don't know if that helps them or not, because like, you know, if Rishi Sunak's talking about football and stuff, no one's going to think he's genuine because it doesn't involve lots and lots of money in his pocket. And Keir Starmer's like a big football fan.
Oh no. Sorry, I remember something on Twitter of someone saying that it was Glastonbury weekend, but it's not.
No. Also, there are like really bad immigration figures due out tomorrow, and for the start of the election, it also was pissing down with rain Like it
But
announced
also,
it
do
was
they
going to
think
be
that-
pissing down with rain yesterday, so you surely would have known and could have just waited a day.
Oh, he didn't have a plan, did he?
Literally no plan.
Do you think they're doing it in the summer because they think people will be away on holiday?
No, probably not. I mean, also it doesn't really. No, because yeah, maybe. Well, I don't know if students are on holiday. Are they on holiday in July?
Yeah.
Well, they're back home from their place. So I think actually it works out slightly better if they vote from home for them, because it's spread out rather than concentrated in areas like the student vote.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So yeah, no, generally people are just like, what? Like nobody, like no MPs even from the Tories expected it as well, and it's just everyone's like, well, if you did it in May with like the May elections, then it helps kind of the local councillors as well, because then you've got like the people who are popular locally can boost the people who have like the general election vote, and it can like help other people out, like the mayor, what's his name, Andy Street. It's gonna be very boring for some people here, don't he? But he just missed out by a few hundred votes or a couple of thousand votes, and he would have probably stayed. He would have been re-elected if it had been at the same time. But then he could also wait until November, when maybe the economy is probably going to improve slightly because inflation's coming down. So it's like,
Slightly.
why? I think he's just given up. Somebody joked that like, well, August is when the term starts in America, so it gives him a chance to kind of lose the election and then move to America with his wife and kids.
Yeah, and just have a nice, rich life somewhere.
Oh, a very, very nice and privileged, rich life.
Right for some.
Yeah, but anyway, that will be coming up in the next few weeks. Don't worry, I will not speak about it, as much on every podcast. There might be a little update every now and again, but
I'm sure there will be.
yeah, I need to decide who to vote for.
Well,
I don't, and also, Twitter's going to be insufferable.
oh, of course.
Like,
it is.
yeah,
Social media in general.
like the amount of times I've seen people being like, "Oh, they're both the same," and I'm like, I feel like that's quite a it's a bit. I don't know if it's ignorant. I think it's a lazy thing to say, but it's also a kind of a privileged thing to say, because if you say, "Oh, they're both the same," and people might think the opposite and be like, "No, it's actually privileged to say that there is a difference." But you look at the policies and like the ways that a Labour government would make a life better for people. Like, for example, yeah, I'm trying to think some policies at the moment other than like the Rwanda stuff. It's going to help people who desperately need help from the government if it's not a Tory one. But, well, we will see. We will see. I haven't formatted my opinions just yet, but I know who I won't be voting for.
Formulated.
Yeah, did I say formatted?
Yes.
Yes.
You meant
Formulated. It's been a very busy day today.
Clearly.
So we had a question in the Discord today, didn't we?
We did.
What was it?
A fitting one that Ben put in last minute,
Mm.
which was what video game character would make the best prime minister?
Yeah. And thank you to everyone that replied, because there were some great ideas. Which one would you pick? Have you found one yet?
So I struggle with this, but I think that's because a lot of video game characters are either heroes but flawed. So you're like, well, I don't really want you to lead the country.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're an evil dictator that I don't want you to lead the country. So it's quite difficult to find someone.
Yeah.
And I guess my mind went to Final Fantasy, but I'm like, who is there? Sephiroth? Shinra?
Like a good prime minister.
Idea? Like,
Yeah.
all these bad people. The weird little bug king from 9. There's
Clown. What's his
Kefka.
name? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad leaders. And I don't think I want a little young skinny twink to lead the country.
Wow. Don't be twink phobic.
They don't have the experience.
Some do.
I guess like maybe the obvious one would be someone like Princess Ash from 12, because she is a born leader, and you have to. She's sort of the hero of 12, really. So I think she'd make a good prime minister, but she's also just very sort of obvious and privileged.
Yeah.
So maybe we don't want that.
No.
Maybe we want like Captain Toad, just someone reliable who just gets the job done.
Plods along.
Yeah, just plods along, gets it done.
It's like John Major. Captain Toad is the John Major of politics.
Sure.
I think I would. I mean, when you're talking about like leaders, the one that you imagine someone like Dimitri from Fire Emblem Three Houses, or
You just fancy him.
Yeah. Well, there's a few people in there I fancy that would make good leaders. What's the leader of the third one, the yellow party?
Oh, the archer.
Yeah, he would. He'd
He'd
be fun.
Yeah, I've
Hyen?
forgotten.
No, someone else.
Because I went with
14.
the lady whose name I've also now completely forgotten.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's been a long time since I played that game. The Eagles, Black Eagles.
Oh yeah, Black Eagles and the Blue Lions.
I mean, spoiler, she turned out to not be very nice.
Yeah. Thatcher. Yeah, she's the Thatcher. No,
wow.
I think when you want a leader, you want somebody that is kind of. We need to bring back some kind of heart and friendliness and like kindness to politics. We need someone that's like kind and kind of warm and someone that like you can look up to. So I would pick Trico from The Last Guardian.
Wow.
Because you look up to them and they're very kind.
You haven't played that game, have you?
No.
No.
No. I didn't finish it. Why, is it actually evil? Is it like, has it got rabies? Has it got rabies and stuff? Has it got rabies?
No.
Okay.
I mean, you climb all over him.
Hmm.
He's not all that good.
Really?
No.
Oh, shit. Well, I don't know. I'll go back to Dimitri then. He'd be fine. Although he'd be better as like a prince. If we had to have a royal family.
You think like kind and loving, like, oh, let's have Princess Peach. And you're like, no, she gets captured all the time. She's useless.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, people who are kind in video games don't survive.
Waluigi. Yes,
No.
yes. Prime Minister Waluigi, who's probably actually just a little bit flawed and is a very decent person.
Is he? Or is
Yeah.
he a Tory?
No. Who are the video game Tories? Lara Croft definitely votes Tory.
Yes.
You've seen her house, haven't you? Definite Tory. But she's one that doesn't say it in like whenever people talk in politics, she just goes quiet. And then secretly votes for
BNP.
Yeah. Reform. Massive Nigel Farage fan is Lara Croft.
Well, you've seen what she does to her servants. She puts them in the freezer.
Exactly, yeah.
That's not someone you want to vote for.
No, that's probably like, yeah, that's borderline UKIP. Yeah. Anyway, so that was the politics section.
Well, let's ask what people at home thought.
Yeah.
Because we did ask them the
We
question.
did ask them the question, so we should probably read those out.
We should.
Let them just ignore them.
And we've had some good answers, actually, that I had not even thought of. So Westman said, the leaders of Super Earth, of course. The UK needs more managed democracy, liberty, and freedom.
I will never vote for anybody that talks about liberty and freedom because it's just a kind of like, yeah, it's just a word for fascism.
Yeah, I don't know if we want a sort of military-led government.
No, I get Trump vibes.
Not the best. Randy Pasta. Now, Randy Pasta has come up with a very, very good choice, who I would agree with.
Yeah.
And that's Rio Morales from Marvel Spider-Man games, which is Miles's mum. Right?
Oh, God, yes.
She cares a lot about her community, which you see more of in the Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2 games. Having a leader who actually cares about making people's lives better is a good start.
No.
I mean, she's a great role model.
See, I thought Miles for a bit because I was like, oh, Peter, but he's a bit boring. Miles is kinder.
Busy.
But I was going to say,
busy saving the world.
but neither of them can because they're American. And the last time we had an American-born prime minister was,
You tell me.
Boris Johnson. Born in New York.
Oh, was he? Oh, of course he was. Yeah.
So we will have no more American-born.
No, that's true.
Not to be American-phobic, but you're all banned after that track record. Sorry,
we've got a bad. We've had a bad experience. So
yeah. You would never want a British person leading your country. Legally, they can't.
Certainly not.
So yeah, sorry.
There we go. Mr. Millhill has said Bigby Wolf for president, who I think is from The Wolf Among Us, judging by the GIF along.
Oh
with this.
yeah.
Which I've not played, so I could not comment on that.
But
he looks like a hard man smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, looks like someone that's at the end of the tether.
Yeah.
Mm.
Surratt says Princess Zelda, very compassionate and has a deep love for her people.
No, she just doesn't have the voice. She doesn't have an authoritative voice.
Link, vote for me, please.
Yeah. I'm in the other castle. Is that the other one? No, that's Princess Peach, isn't it? Yeah. Come get me, Link. I've been asleep for 100 years. No.
I mean, I was about to spoil Tears of the Kingdom, and I won't do
don't
that.
do that. No.
She's had some good storylines in a lot of games, to be fair.
There's a story in Zelda. Go and rescue the princess. That's it.
Oh Lord! See, spot the non-Zelda fan over here.
I liked Breath of the Wild, but that was literally go to the castle and rescue the princess.
Okay, well, I'll put it this way. Progressively, over the course of the series, Zelda has become more autonomous and more in charge of her own destiny and has become a better character and a better female character, which we need more of in Nintendo games. So every game, she has a better storyline. Hint, hint, you've got Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay, I'll play eventually.
Cap says Torgal from Final Fantasy 16. Now, I don't know if we want a dog in charge.
No, not if Trico's not allowed.
No. Well, I mean, Torgal does kick ass, but...
Is there anyone in 16 that you would want?
I mean,
Clive. Sid, yeah, Sid would be good.
He's a good leader. He is down with the people. He's definitely anti-Tory.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'd go for that.
He'd be a good choice. And then last up, we have Mr. Wibble, who says, Tom Nook, you want someone who has a knack for economy, right?
No, not a mortgage lender. No mortgage lenders, please.
I feel like Tom Nook's a Tory as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bitch better have my bells.
Exactly,
as it says
on your mug.
Yeah. No, yeah, he's well, maybe he's got a bit of a heart to him. Because he doesn't put interest on those loans. And he lets you pay back as often as you want. I bet there's loads of people here listening who have not paid back their money and they're not being charged for it.
No, I did pay it off back. But
I'm sure there's more people than you listening.
But my island is covered in weeds, so...
Well, that's your responsibility.
Well, it should
You wanted your freedom. So there we go. There is our election special. 30 minutes at the beginning of every podcast now for the next 7 weeks. No, but we will. If there's anything that pops up video game related, we will mention it.
Absolutely. If something comes up in the news, that's always interesting.
Yeah,
we do have our news section. Later.
If they maybe we should write to our local MP and ask them their views on the video game industry and what they're going to do.
Genuinely, should we do that and see if they come up with anything?
I don't think she really cares.
No, she probably won't.
She's.
But imagine if she did it, we could read it out on the podcast.
Yeah.
On behalf of our listeners, we would like to know your thoughts on the state of the video game industry.
Pen that email. Oh my god, yeah, do that tomorrow, and then we hopefully we'll have a reply.
You're the politics nerd. You should do it.
Oh, fine. Sarah Jones, gonna email you.
I can help with the writing, but
sorry, can't I write?
No, I'm just saying that's my offering to you.
Well, that is a very good offer. Speaking of video games, what have you been playing?
Honestly, not a lot. Or not a lot that I haven't really spoken about. I guess it's the 14 update time, which I'm still plugging away at.
Yeah.
So Dawn Trail is out in a month. And yeah, I'm just plugging away. I'm still enjoying it. I'm having a good time with it. However, I have hit a really boring bit.
Which boring bit?
Well, okay, so you said, when you get to the moon, and spoiler for everyone, when you get to the moon,
it's been on trailers.
You meet the Loporrits. Excuse me.
Oh.
It's my tea coming back up. And you meet the Loporrits, you're like, it's really boring. And I'm like, that went by quite quickly for me.
I think it's because there's quite a big boss that you beat, and then I stopped playing for a bit. So then when I went back to it, there's like 3 hours of nothing. And like, I wasn't quite I obviously wasn't on a high from that. I think if I'd continued playing straight after, then maybe it would have been okay.
Yeah, but also with me.
You unlocked the ether current, so you can fly around on your mount, which I didn't do until I'd finished the game.
Oh, I didn't do that until much later.
Oh, okay.
I also could not fly and was running back and forth between rabbits, which took a while, and it was a bit boring. Don't get me wrong, but I'm now in Elpis.
Elpis, the piss in Spanish.
Elpis is literally what it is.
The Spanish for piss.
It's so boring.
It's a lore dump. Do you not enjoy the lore and the story?
I don't want a lore dump.
No. You hate a lore dump, don't you?
I hate a lore dump because for me it's lazy storytelling.
How dare you, Kojima? would be offended if he heard that.
This is exactly what I mean, okay?
At the end of Death Stranding
At
is
the end of
perfect.
it's like, let's give you no story until the end of Death Stranding, where it's
So
like,
much story.
here's a 5-hour ending that you weren't expecting, which vaguely explains everything, but also doesn't.
Explains it incredibly clearly. Maybe you just didn't get it. Maybe it went over your head.
It's like shut up. It's like is it the second Matrix film where he meets the Oracle in like the white box? Not the Oracle. He meets somebody else, like the Maker, and it's like suddenly it's this big lore dump at the end. It's like, oh, okay, it's the explainer, and I'm like, why don't you pepper that throughout the story and give us an actual good piece of storytelling instead of the whole like, we're going to give you a half-assed vague load of shit, and then at the end, oh, by the way, this is what you missed all the way throughout. That just irritates me.
The Matrix
so, no,
is
I don't
overrated
like a
anyway. I don't.
The first one's brilliant.
It's good. I won't say brilliant.
Wow. I don't like a lore dump. Also, there hasn't been that much of a lore dump.
You're finding out everything about the creation of humanity.
Well, I haven't even got to that yet.
Oh, okay.
Well, a little bit I have. I think I'm about to get to the because I've just met a lady who seems to be very important, and I've totally forgotten who she is.
A young one
with white hair. No,
remember.
not the little blue thing.
No.
I've forgotten her name, but she puts like the spell on you to protect you from ether.
No.
Venar.
I can't remember.
Venar. I think she was
I don't know
important.
any of the characters.
I think she was important a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm slowly remembering as I play. So I think I'm going to get to a big bit now, so that's fine. And I get it. It's the typical like JRPG trope of let's go back to see the ancients, and of course they live in a beautiful utopian paradise that's green and lush and full of flowers and floats in the sky with waterfalls. Like every game has a utopia like that. So I get it. It's going for that. It looks beautiful. Chrono Trigger has a very good version of that. As does Sea of Stars. Based on Chrono Trigger. That's why. So yeah, I get it. It's the trope. It looks beautiful. It's just a bit boring. All these people in cloaks just like mumbling away about making things. And I'm like, can we crack on now, please? Like, I think until now, for me, it's had highs, it's had lows, but the story's been moving quite quickly. And you get to that bit on the moon that's like a big climactic point, and now it's kind of fallen off a cliff. And I'm like, can we pick up where we're going now? It
might take a while, but it will eventually.
Yeah. So it's fine. I think once I push through this, I'm hoping we're off, and then we go to the end.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, much better.
Like I haven't done a duty in forever. It's annoying.
Yeah, no, it sounds very fair, and that's the game itself. I mean, I find 14 it has highs and lows, and I love Shadowbringers from start to finish, and I was completely invested in the people, in the characters, in the storyline from literally start till very end. And I was even at the end of it, I was a bit sad. Like it felt weird going because Shadowbringers takes place somewhere else, and then you come back, and I was like the feeling of just going back and was like not emotional, but just like, oh wow, I've missed this place. I was like coming back home, but I actually preferred the other place. The other place I'd been in so long, that felt like home, and now I'm back and it's like, oh, I remember this. Yeah, it's like coming back from holiday when you've had the best holiday of ever. Yeah. And you're home and you're like, oh, I'm home, but I do prefer the other place. So like that, I was so invested in that world and everything about it. But Endwalker, I never got that. I was kind of racing through to finish it.
There is a bit that you go back to Shadowbringers though.
Yeah.
In Endwalker, which I did just before this.
Yeah.
Which was quite nice. I'm like, oh, I get to go back and see people and see what they're up to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I am enjoying Endwalker more overall. I do think the storytelling overall is better. The highs and the lows are more even. And I feel more invested in it, I think, because I've put so much time into it now. It's just this one bit. I'm like, can we crack on now, please?
Are you still enjoying playing as a Reaper?
Very much. Very much. I've got some new abilities. I don't know what they do.
Don't play with other people.
Well, I think that they are better versions of what I already have.
Have they replaced them?
Yes.
Okay, well,
because I follow the little yellow lines and just do what I'm told.
I'm glad you don't play with other people.
No, this is why. So yeah, it's now there's like an upgraded version. So now I get different attacks, but they have taken the place of the ones I would usually use.
Okay, yeah.
So
that's what happened.
I don't think it's like brand new moves. It's just like improved versions.
I feel like that's happened with
fine.
when I was samurai as well. Like it gives me 2 stacks of something instead of 1, so I can do a certain move twice with 1 cooldown.
Yeah.
Or it calls so you can stack 2 up. Okay. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying that.
I'm having a lovely time.
Yeah, I've not really played anything new either. I'm little Elden Ring update, still playing it. Go and check out my YouTube if you want to watch what my playthrough is happening. But I finally beat, I beat Radahn.
Hey.
I did not expect to beat him anytime soon. I thought he was like level 80 plus you went to fight him, but apparently not. So I went to Caelid.
You got good.
Apparently I did. I visited Caelid and had a little wander around there. That's a horrible place. And ended up at a town, which I was expecting to have a lot of kind of people fighting me, but apparently not. And then
It's
all of a sudden,
castle, but okay.
a castle, a town within a castle. And
Sure.
I was then, we then had the festival, which was really cool, and this massive arena with Radahn. And it just took me a couple of about 4 tries, I think. And it summoned all the other characters, which was a cool like story bit. Which is what I don't summon. I'm playing the game without summoning any real people because I don't want help. But if there's any the part of the story is that you summon some of the the in-game characters. Because near some of the bosses, they have like a glowing, like an orange glowing thing on the floor, which is, if it's a white glowing one, it's one of those like little messages from other people that they've left. But if there's an orange one, it means you can summon in somebody you've got a storyline with. And that has it littered about the entire battlefield, and you can summon them and help you. And the first time I didn't even notice them.
Well, exactly, because you went in, and because I was watching, I was invested at this point to see how you were going to do it.
Yeah.
And I think you were like, this isn't going to work, but I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
And then you went in, and without summoning anyone, you actually did all right.
Did like a fifth of his damage, or a quarter maybe.
And because your hits were actually doing a decent amount of damage. So I was like, do you know what? If you can work out the twist in this boss battle, I think you'll do all right. And you were running around, and I was like, there are lots of orange things here, and you haven't commented on those, and I don't know if you've noticed them or not.
Oh, I have noticed them, but I didn't realize that because of the color of the map, I thought it was people had left them. And because it was like, I thought they were just I didn't realize that they were orange. I thought they were just the white ones that people have left saying like, go ahead or finger butthole and all that kind of thing. So I was expecting, dog, next to the tortoise.
The turtle pope.
Exactly. And I went to, I fought him a little bit, and then after I summoned them, it was very cool. And I think like the 3rd try, I got him down to about less than 1%. It was so close. But I didn't, people were like sitting in the chat that they would rage quit. And I'm like, you know what? I didn't, because I wasn't expecting to beat him. And the fact I got that close is great, because now I know I can beat him. And then I beat him the next time. So.
Oh, I also beat a boss. In Dark Souls.
You did?
Which was Ornstein and Smo. Which is kind of like the Melania of that game. It's like it's the
you did quite quickly, didn't you?
Well, I don't like to brag, Ben.
You did scream the house down.
I did.
Surprise.
It's like it's probably the most iconic boss from Dark Souls 1. It's 2 bosses in one.
I hate that.
Yeah. I can't remember which way around they are. I think Smo is the big one, and Ornstein is the little skinny one. And you have to fight them both together. And then whichever one you kill, the other one then will take on the other's power.
Oh, okay.
To become a super version.
Right.
So
is there a trick to killing one of them first?
Well, this is the thing. Everybody says to kill the little one first because he's more difficult in the super stage. And the big one is easier to kill in the super stage.
Right.
So everyone says do the little one first. So that's what I was doing the first few times, and I was learning the moves. I was like, okay, we'll get used to this. And I managed to kill him, and then it was like, right, second stage, and the big one came in and literally killed me in 1 hit. Now I think partly it's because there's a cutscene and in the middle of it, and then when the cutscene ends, it sort of throws you back into the battle, and you're like, oh, hang on, where am I? And before I'd noticed, he just ran in and charged me and killed me. And then someone said to me, oh, you can get, I was like, oh, the little one has really cool armor. And someone was like, oh, you can get that if you kill him, because whichever one you kill, you get their armor. So I was like, oh, well then I want to save the little one to kill properly. So I then did it the other way around, and I killed the big one first, and then killed the little one first time.
Oh.
Like in that second stage, and was like, that was easy. I ran out of Estus, and I was just poking him in the bum. And then he died. Simple. So
Oh.
I've got past that now, and I'm like, that's in my, because I haven't really talked about playing Dark Souls, which I'm doing on stream, but that was the one boss I've been really excited to play because it's the most iconic from that game and is a massive roadblock for people. And I've done it, so I'm really happy with that.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Well, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of myself.
Good.
Beating Radahn. And then I went and faced, there was a dungeon, they got a dungeon or a crypt or whatever, on, like, so when you kill him, there's the massive arena that you're left with. Once you've killed Radahn, there's the big arena. And I was having a little wander around and I found a secret entrance to a cave, and it went down into the ground, and like there was like it's a very typical kind of copy pasted style dungeon where you just, it's just underground. You kill some things, you try and find a contraption to open the door to the boss, and then you can go and kill the boss. And I went in there and I found that it was actually way higher than Radahn. I feel like they do that sometimes.
Oh yeah.
They'll love to put something that, like, they'll love to put a dungeon or something right next to like a boss or somewhere like the entrance to the game or the start of the game, and then actually it's really high. And I kept playing it, and I got quite far into it. I was enjoying it because I was understanding it, and there were some really tough just enemies wandering around in there. But they would give me a lot of runes, and I needed 25,000 to level up my character. And at one point I had 38, I want to say, just from killing a couple because there was this one person at the end of this run that was taking forever to kill. And I eventually got them and got the 38, but it didn't unlock anything. It didn't give me any buttons to press. So I just progressed to the next room, and then someone came and murdered me. So I had all those runes, the 38,000 or whatever, just left there. And then I was like, oh shit, I'm just going to run through the area. I was going to skip past the enemies. Going to run through them and just grab them. And yeah, they kind of blocked me because they don't move out of the way. You can't just barge them out of the way. And I got blocked and I got killed. And I lost all 38,000, and I was so pissed off. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm just going to leave that dungeon for later.
But that's the thing, is that you can do that in Elden Ring. Like the previous games, they don't quite have that sense, and you have to just keep trying. I think Elden Ring, you're like, oh, as long as you make a mark on the map and be like, remember to go back there later.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you can just wander off, do something else.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a few I've tried. That wasn't, the last stream I had, it was only 2 hours long, but it wasn't as enjoyable for me because I was just dying all the time. There was a few that were a bit too tricky that I was trying. I'm like, oh, I'm confident I beat Radahn. And then I'm like, oh no, I'm still a bit too low.
That happens.
Still a bit too low there's like this person at the top of the mountain that's like got a giant pincer that just runs at you.
That creature thing, yeah.
That's
a pain.
That's a pain in the ass, and I think that's probably a lot later as well, guessing.
Well, that's kind of how progression works in it, I think, is... And this is something that I think Tears of the Kingdom does a lot of as well, is that it sort of funnels you down a specific path. It's just that that's not necessarily clear. So because it's open and you're like, oh, I'll go anywhere. And you start hitting roadblocks of, oh, here's a really hard boss. Here's a really difficult catacomb. Here's whatever. And so that...
Catacomb, that was it.
So ultimately that's sort of funneling you towards where you should be. But sometimes it can feel like you're hitting your head against a wall and you're not achieving anything because you just keep hitting, really tough enemies.
Yeah.
But you have to understand that is the game teaching you, and that's you learning where you actually do need to go.
Yeah. No, it's great fun still. I do enjoy it. But yeah. Other than that, though, I have been playing a bit of Ghost of Tsushima because it came out on PC. I played a tiny bit on the Steam Deck. It ran fantastically. But only the single player version because you need to use Windows to play the multiplayer one, because I think you have to sign in for PSN, and that's only working with Windows, so you can't actually play co-op on the Steam Deck because that's Linux. So yeah, but that ran really well. But then it made me think like, oh, I'd love to get the platinum. And part of me was like, do I start a new game? But then I'd have to go through all the boring bits, and there's still a lot that I've already done because I finished the game before. But I'm like, do I restart the game? Do I do a new game plus with all the cool armor? And then I was reading up on it, and I've never done the DLC, so I never did that extra island. And they said, they're like, oh, if you do New Game Plus, you should really do the island first in the normal playthrough, because then you get some kind of feathers or whatever.
Does that mean... Did you play it on PS5 or PS4?
4. But I upgraded, but I never went back to it. So now I've upgraded it. So I've got quite a few trophies. I've like 60%. But a lot, in fact, now I'm much higher because I did a few. I was just trophy hunting. I was going around trying to clear the map. Like I've cleared all of the bandit camps or the Mongol camps across the whole map. So it's kind of just opened up. And there are 3 sections to the map. And the bottom section, I've done everything, like all the fox dens. Honestly, those fucking fox dens.
Yeah, they take ages.
I mean, fox dens are only second in annoyance to the bamboo strikes. And I like the bamboo strikes idea. But when you've got to press like 5 buttons really, or is it 7 buttons really quickly? I think it might be 5. Because you get the 3
about those.
and then there's the 5, and then I think it's 7, and you have to do it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
It's very stressful. But I've still gotten easy because I haven't played it in so long. Still gotten easy. I'm just kind of wandering around, and even now I'm like, oh god, yeah. I remember because the first time I played it in the loft in Cardiff, when I was sitting up there on my own, and yeah, you just took I've never taken as many screenshots as I did playing that game. And even now I'm just taking them and doing like using photo mode because it's just stunning, especially on the PS5. But yeah, no, I'm just going around now and kind of clearing everything. I'd love to get the platinum, and I think looking at it all seems quite achievable, but there's quite a few missions that I haven't done yet. Loads of side missions and loads of the side stories.
They're the best bits.
I know, and I did one earlier, and it wasn't like one of the main quests, like one of the main side sagas that you do. It was just like a random one where I went to a guy and it was like at a camp, like a mini, I think it was like a homeless camp, that kind of thing, or a camp of a few people that had been driven out of the towns. And the person kind of leading that camp was just being a dick. And then you find out that he's been a dick because he's been bribed, I think it was, or there was somebody in there that had been bribed by the Mongols, and they said, oh, if you don't give us money or whatever, we're going to kidnap you, or we're going to kill you and your family. And then you find that his family have been kidnapped, and you go and hunt them down, and you find them, but they've been killed. But you kill the people who killed them, and then you go back and you have to break it to him, and he's really devastated. But then they all work together as a commune to help him, and those little side missions. I think people always talk about The Witcher as having like amazing side stories, and I think there's games like Ghost of Tsushima that have really taken on board like how good a good side mission can be. And yeah, every single one that I've played of that, it's really good. You've got the side missions that are just like really interestingly, like they played out really well, and even just a little thing like that was like had me captivated for the 20-25 minutes that it took. But then you've got just like the most repetitive things ever with like the fox dens or the bamboo strikes or the climbing. There's only 10 of them, I think, where you have to climb to the top of the shrines. You know, the various platforming things.
I've forgotten so much about this game. Like I played it on PS5, so when the remaster came out, with the DLC included.
See, I played it on PS4,
which
and I
was,
remember
3 years ago.
But you had to climb to the very, very top of certain gate and get to the Torii Gate or whatever at the top, and
vaguely
and pray at it. But it usually involves lots of platforming and swinging and jumping.
Yeah, I remember now.
So those can be a little bit of a pain, but they're kind of fun. And I'm trying to kind of just tick things off on the map as I go up, so which it gives me like a nice variety. Because I think if I was like, okay, I'm going to go and find all the fox dens, I would just turn it off after about 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to do all of one.
No.
You want to mix up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm doing that. And yeah, it's just a stunning game. And it's kind of a bit mindless as well because I've got it on easy mode. So like, if I want to fight, I do love the battles where you hold triangle. And then the second somebody actually starts attacking you, you let go and you slice them. And then when someone else comes, you press triangle and it's just really slow-mo. I keep messing up sometimes.
I did that all the time.
It's so good though. Feels cool. But yeah, if you haven't played Ghost of Tsushima and you've got it on, like you've got a PS4 or PS5 or now a PC, then I couldn't recommend it highly enough. It's a really, really good open world samurai game. But yeah, it's with some really cool stories. Like the main story, I think you were not a massive, massive fan of, but like the side missions and then the side kind of sagas. Because I think there are like 6 or so side characters, but they don't necessarily, as far as I can remember, they don't really intertwine until kind of near the end. But you can like follow their story, And I think if you progress their story to the end in the final battle, it's a lot easier because they join you. But I never did, so I had to put it on easy and beat it.
Oh, I think I might have done that.
Yeah, I think you get a few. I think I'd only completed 1 or 2, so they aided me. But I think, yeah, if you want to get like the best ending or like the easiest ending, then you complete them all.
Nice.
Yeah.
Should we see what people at home
Let's
have
do.
been playing?
What have you been playing?
Let me scroll back because we've had some others.
Yeah, we've had a few questions today.
So Finn says, I started playing Gris on Sunday. It came out 5 years ago, so I don't know if anyone played it back then. Yes.
Hello, Finn. We are big fans of Gris.
Yes.
Or Gris, if you're French.
As it was really cheap on Steam, I wanted to try out a new game. You play as the girl Gris with her magical dress to collect stars for star constellations on different landscapes, with some puzzles you have to figure out to move on. I love the graphics and the sound design. So much cello music. The music in this game is incredible. It's an interesting game without any speech, and I read that it's about grief. Very peaceful, and somehow it makes me cry at some points, just with the gestures and beautiful music and the play with colours. There are no explanations, but it somehow gets to me on a different emotional level. We'll hopefully manage to finish it soon, as I have a history of not finishing games. It's pretty short, though, this one. It's like 3 hours.
I finished it in one stream. So I actually played it on the release day, because back in those days, I used to be streaming pretty much all the time, and I think I used to go... Yeah, I used to leave to go to work at like 4 o'clock on a Friday because I was teaching in the afternoon. And I remember I used to wake up at like 9 or 10 o'clock and go into, and like my stream would be to go into the Nintendo store, see what's been released that day, just find a random game that's been released and then go and play it. And yeah, Gris or Gris, I think Gris. It means pig in Swedish. If you go, that game had just come out and I looked at it and I was like, you know what, that seems like my kind of thing, and did it. And played the entire thing in one. It was phenomenal.
I'm going to skip ahead to Moni, who replied to this, because you tagged her in it.
Would you like to bleep out her swear words?
Gris is just the best in-game ever made, for me personally at least, but mostly because of my experiences with the topic of the game itself, and because frankly I've never seen a game that explains nothing, has no dialogue, but delivers all the emotions via art and music. I played it on stream for the first time in commemoration, and I was bawling my eyes out over it. And I have a tattoo from it as well.
Aww.
So you have a gem, and it's really not that long. So really, really worth playing to the end.
Yes, it is. It's a very, very special game, especially people that can relate to it quite deeply in that way.
Yeah, the music is what got me, for sure. Like, there's a bit towards the end where the music just soars, and it's like, wow, everything just all comes together in this big moment. It's really well done.
I think like the following week or like it was very, very around that time. Another Friday game that I played was Gorogoa, which I loved. You hated it, didn't you?
Stressed me out.
You're not a good person with puzzles, are you?
It depends what the puzzles are. I'm really good with like environmental puzzles, so a sort of Zelda dungeon.
And Laura's Lazy Eye or whatever it's called.
No. A sort of Zelda dungeon kind of thing is that's my kind of puzzle. What I'm not good at is logic puzzles, where it's like maths or moving things.
I bet you'd have hated
tiles
well, you
around
hated Laura's Lazy Eye and the other one.
Lorelei and the Laser Eyes.
Okay, not Laura's Lazy Eye.
No, not Laura's Lazy Eye.
But what was the other one? No, I bet you
didn't hate that either. It's just
not for you.
No, I can tell when a game is good, but it's not for me.
What about the island? What's it called? The one where you're on an island.
That's helpful.
And you have to, and there's no instructions.
With all the mazes.
There are no instructions or anything, and you have to. It's just
The Witness.
The Witness, yes.
Oh God, I lasted like 30 seconds in that game.
Yeah, I lasted about 5 minutes. I was like, no thanks.
Like that's the kind of puzzle where I'm like, my brain just does not work in that way, and it's going to frustrate the hell out of me.
But I think a game that is a puzzle game that you would adore is Viewfinder.
Yeah,
you need to do that in one stream. You can do it in like 3 hours.
Yeah,
that needs to be one stream for you.
Play at some point.
Please do.
Lenny Lavie says, I've returned to DBD, unfortunately. There has been a random perk roulette event, which I thought would be fun and can be, but somehow people are playing the event like comp sweat lords, ladies, emperors.
Like competitive.
Oh, competitive. Sure. A new gacha, my fave, comes out tomorrow. Wuthering Waves, which is today.
No, it's tomorrow. For us.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, it's tomorrow. It was in the US. I think it's like tonight. It's like 10 o'clock on Wednesday evening
Okay.
in like Pacific time. So
Right.
I think it's like early hours even for tomorrow. Anyway, if by the time this goes up, it will be out potentially, or this morning.
Yeah. Looks like an apocalyptic Genshin almost. Open world, real-time battling. I'm excited for something new to preoccupy me over the long weekend.
See, I was quite well. I always try and get into them and then last about a day, but yeah, I would play this on my phone, but the fact it's kind of real time, I'm like, can I actually do that kind of stuff on a phone very well? And I don't want to get like an extra controller or anything like that, so I think I probably just won't bother. Also, I've heard that you can lose a lot of money. However, we know some people that are voice actors in there, Alex Jordan and James Day, who are voicing characters in it, probably others as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's awesome that they're using some nice UK talent.
Absolutely. Games Mistress. Surprising no one, I've been playing Stardew.
Stardew.
After the new After the new PC update 1.6, Liz and I started a new Meadowlands farm, and I decided to properly work on my beach farm. My solo beach farm is so much fun, and I've been loving the quality of life updates and the new events. I'm finally decent at fishing. I'm working on various collections, and I grew a giant pumpkin in my tiny beach garden. I'm on winter of year 3, so I'm focusing on exploring more tropical places now. And then there are some spoilers, which are spoiled, and therefore I'm not going to click on them and read them because I don't want to.
Don't spoil it yourself.
But Gemma says, my wife Leah and I are living our best lives in my mega expanded house.
Yeah, I need to play more of that just to relax.
Dan Law, I've finally got around to finishing 7 Rebirth. I will make sure there's no spoilers
Thank you.
for you. An absolutely beautiful game that handles the open world in such a great way.
It does.
An abundance of optional content that really fleshes out the world and characters. It builds on the combat of Remake in such an organic way. It's great that once you find your preferred party, you can tweak equipment and skills to make you feel truly powerful in combat. Blown away by all the voice talent in the game, you really get to see the funny, stoic, and vulnerable sides of most characters. And some stuff about the end with a payoff in the next game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going back to it.
Which isn't super spoilery, but I don't want to spoil it for you.
I want to go back to it, and I will go back to it. So and I think I'm going to enjoy going back to it, and hopefully have a few more people that might want to watch the Let's Play, because it's a YouTube exclusive Let's Play, and I'm definitely going to go back to it, but I'm hopefully that people will enjoy it a bit more because the game's been out now, so you can watch it.
You won't be spoiled.
Being spoiled, yeah.
And then I think last one. Oh no, we've got a couple more. Chaddy, I've been playing both Stardew Valley and Elden Ring, which are as spectrums go, I think these are very opposite end. Yes.
Yeah, I'm playing both.
God, I would love to play Stardew, so I'll enjoy both. As for Elden Ring, I'm very much enjoying this time around. Everything is clicking with me a lot more. I tried it last year in September when I first got my PS5 and just couldn't get on with it. Thank you to both Ed and Ben for all the help recently. You are welcome.
Very welcome.
I beat Margit. And now I'm not quite sure of my goal again, but I'm ready to find my next challenge.
Huh. I thought the goal after that is quite easy because it's just continue going through the castle.
Yeah, it kind of directs you.
Yeah. Especially because I think you're. No, you could technically go to Caelid, couldn't you?
I think that's actually what I did. Was I went to Caelid next because I'd already opened up an entryway that way and didn't realize you could go north, and then was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, go to Caelid and be like, oh, here's a.
It was really hard.
You're definitely right about it guiding you where you should be going, because that is very much you do not go here.
And you start to learn that eventually the more you play.
Yeah. Oh no, because I got sent there.
Oh, in a treasure chest.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to get out of here very, very quickly.
Yes, very much that.
Yeah.
The game looks stunning and the combat is very satisfying, although I do scream a lot when I make a mistake. Welcome to the world, Chaddy. I know we've all been there. I'm having a lot of fun.
It is good. And the one thing I like about it, like even though I was doing that dungeon and I lost all those runes, like if that had been kind of a hard part, like if we were playing a Dark Souls game or something, it's like you need to complete that to get to the next bit. I feel like I was making progress every single time. So even though I was dying quite well all the time, and these were really tough bosses, I was like at least every couple of runs I was doing, I was getting a little bit further and learning the moves and getting and improving. So yeah, I just think when the game's so tight, when you make a mistake or if you fail, you know it's you. It's not the game fucking up.
Yeah.
It might be that you're underleveled, or you've made a mistake by rolling when you should have done that, or whatever. So
Yeah, it's very fair.
Mostly, yeah.
Jackie B to finish up. Still playing Super Mario Brothers Wonder, and it's so fun and cute.
Yeah.
Wonder.
Progressing
Through the main part of the game hasn't been too much of a challenge yet, but I have found my way to the special worlds a couple times so far. Yep, and they are a real challenge. The last special world that I attempted ate 40 lives before I decided to give up and regroup. The controls on the Switch are a bit small for my hands and are somewhat taxing if I need to do complicated moves for an extended period of time to get through a round. It's made me consider getting a pro controller. I would say get a pro controller regardless. Like the Switch Pro controller is one of the best controllers out there. It's so comfortable, and it works. It makes every game better.
We know about my screw up with the Pro controller. I played the entirety of Zelda Breath of the Wild to completion with a not obviously every one, but I did like 60, 70 hours to finish Ganon on the small little Joy-Con grip.
Oh, I had that as well.
And did that. And then afterwards I was like, right, I'm going to treat myself. I bought a Pro controller in time for Pokemon Go. For Pokemon Let's Go Eevee.
Which you need to use motion controls.
And you can't use a Pro controller for it. So I was like, fucking hell. So I think I bought Splatoon 2 as well, and that did use it. So I was like, okay, fine. But no. I remember saving up because I was a poor teacher at that time. Like, I'm going to get the Pro controller so I can actually go and play a game with it, like Pokemon Let's Go. And then, what the hell? What do you mean you can't use it? I mean, you should probably be able to. Because it's all about flicking. Sure, you can flick. The controller's got a gyroscope in it.
Yeah, it's not the same though, is it?
Well, it's not.
No, it doesn't feel the same. You're not like gripping it in a hand, so to speak.
A ball. You know,
Sure.
I mean, the Joy-Con doesn't feel like a ball either.
Anyway, it also doesn't have a wrist strap on it.
Yeah,
and they don't want that going into your TV. So that's probably the main thing.
Probably does more damage, yeah.
Yeah. Should we talk about the news? There's a few little headlines.
Go on then, what's in the news?
Well, we've talked a lot about Elden Ring, and there's a DLC out next month.
Yeah, I definitely won't be there in time.
No, probably not. But there is a new story trailer out, which I won't...
There's a story?
Don't you start.
Yeah. If you read your rusty keys and all the lore on them, then you'll understand.
Yes. There is a story trailer for the DLC called Shadow of the Erdtree, which is like a new 3-minute trailer. I won't say what's in it, just in case people don't want spoilers. But it looks really fucking good.
Does it?
Funny that. I'm very excited about it. There's some really cool looking enemies.
How do you think people are going to be able to fight in there if they're over leveled? I have heard that there was a previous game, and you can probably agree with this, or you can say that's true, that had a previous Souls game that had DLC, and to fight certain enemies you needed to kill other enemies, and it gave you like a currency that multiplied your attack. And so you killed all the other enemies. You had to kill a bunch of enemies to get this multiplier, and then you could actually fight the main ones in the DLC, so that you couldn't just steamroll everybody.
I do not know.
I think it was Dark Souls. I think I read it on Reddit. It was maybe Dark Souls 2 DLC. Did that exist?
It did. I didn't play it.
Oh, there you go.
So I couldn't tell you.
Apparently that's...
The only DLC I've done is Bloodborne.
Yeah, the one where you cheated.
I did not cheat. Somebody else cheated on my behalf, unrequested.
That's fine.
No, well, Shadow of the Erdtree is going to have a new progression system, but it's based on Sekiro.
Oh.
Now, they haven't really explained what this is, but I think it's to combat exactly what you're saying, that people are going to be different levels when they come in.
Yeah.
Now, my suspicion is that with Sekiro, each boss you do gives you like a thing that you use to upgrade.
Yeah.
Which is sort of separate from your leveling, because you don't really level as much in that game.
You don't at all, really.
So I think it's going to be a similar thing, I imagine, where there's probably going to be a series of bosses around, and maybe that is the way that you level in the DLC, separately from your souls.
I think in Sekiro you can like improve, but you have to beat side bosses to get certain things that will improve. So I wonder if it's going to be like that. I don't know. And I wonder how you find the DLC, Because I bet it'll be something like really hidden, and you have to like.
Well, I
Yeah.
know what it is.
Oh, you know, is it hidden?
It's you have to have done certain bosses, and go to a certain place. But if you know what the DLC story is kind of about, then it's very obvious where you're meant to go to start it.
Yeah.
I will say that much.
Great. Speaking of places, I went to Nokron for the first time in Elden Ring. Very beautiful.
It is.
Some
Twitch news. There's a new feature. Which is nice. I feel like this is the sort of thing that should have been in a long time ago.
I feel like I've been calling for this for a while. I have been calling, but I feel like a few people have.
So Twitch will now let you use filters to filter out mature content, or you can also blur sexual content as well.
Can you filter out non-sexual content? I want to log on to Twitch and only see boobs and chests. Male chests.
I don't think you can do that, no.
That's a shame.
You can.
There'll be an app for that.
Yeah.
Oh, there'll be a plugin.
Basically, last year they introduced the content classification labels, which are what people use to label mature content, drugs, gambling, sex, all that stuff. And there is now a filter option where you can go and you can basically filter those things out. So you can keep them turned on if you want those things, but it will be amongst every other type of stream.
Yeah.
So it's just taking those things out. There's another option as well, which is specifically for sexual themes, which is to blur it on the homepage or general searches. So when you're seeing all the thumbnails of people's streams, if it's sexual content, it will be blurred out for you if you have that option on. Which means for someone like you who works in streaming in a charity who maybe doesn't want boobs on their screen, you can now safely scroll through Twitch.
Oh yeah, no, I've loaded up. So I loaded up somebody's Baldur's Gate 3 stream and was presented with a big cock on the screen and at work, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have to. No, sorry, no, it wasn't. It was The Witcher 3, and it was tits. That was it.
Oh,
it was someone. Yeah, Geralt was getting jiggy with it, and
of course he was.
Literally just logged in. I was like, oh, okay, gonna have to come back to this person later and say hello.
Yeah. I feel like this is something they should have done a long time ago. Like, if you're making labels, then surely filtering by them is a very obvious thing to do. And considering all the problems with like gambling that they've had on there, all the updates to the sexual content, like having this kind of filtering seems very obvious.
Well, I mean, they're still ahead of pretty much every other streaming site. I mean, people do give Twitch a bad rap for, or they have a bad rap for various things and stuff. But I'm like, look at what the competition is doing, like YouTube Gaming and Kick, and they're still miles and miles ahead when it comes to kind of protecting users.
That's something. That is something. Paper Mario, that's out this week, and the Thousand-Year Door.
And I wonder what angle you're going to be talking about.
Well,
we do have a good flag on this up there. There's a flag there.
Yes, we love a queer story. We are a queer podcast. So basically the remake of this game is out this week. It's from the GameCube. I play the GameCube one. It is the best Paper Mario game. It's probably the best Mario RPG. It's fucking phenomenal. If
I want to play an RPG, I'm not going to play a Mario one. I want to play a proper one, like Final Fantasy.
You can pipe the fuck down.
It's like, oh, I'm going to play a Final Fantasy platformer. No thanks.
Says someone who doesn't know what Paper Mario is.
You say it's an RPG?
It's a full RPG. Like, it's not, oh, it's a platformer. It's an RPG, but it's done in a Mario way. And also, you say, oh, I want to play Final Fantasy. Well, the first Mario RPG was Super Mario RPG on the SNES, which was made by Squaresoft, who make Final Fantasy. And that was the blueprint for the Paper Mario games.
Well, maybe if Nintendo do a Final Fantasy flavored platformer, I'd be convinced otherwise.
Wow. Don't listen to Ben, okay? Paper Mario Thousand-Year Door is brilliant. And I'm saying this only from the GameCube, not from the remake, but it is a proper RPG. Battles are all sort of, all these little button presses and stuff you have to do. It takes place on a stage, so it's very theatrical. And
Baby's first RPG,
It is not Baby's first RPG. And it's genuinely got a good story with really good companions and a great script. It's very funny. Don't you look there
I'm nodding.
smug.
I'm nodding.
You look like an asshole.
I believe you.
You don't know.
I do.
I do.
I never grew up with Mario, so it's not been a massive affinity of mine. So when it's like, oh, they're going to do an RPG, and it's like it's in the same league as like Sonic and Mario go to the Olympics. I'm just not really.
It's so much better than that, Ben. Open your mind. You're a disgrace.
Wow.
Anyway, I will protect this game because it's brilliant. Don't listen to him.
Thousand-Year Ball. Sorry, I had that in my head, and I was like, I need to use it at some point.
Can we end the podcast here, please?
Probably will, the way that it was weirdly cut last time.
Anyway, Mario gets various companions along the journey. This is, I guess, vaguely spoilery, but I won't go into detail about it. There is a ghost character called Vivian.
A ghost?
Yes, a ghost. And Vivian has a number of sisters as well. I think 3 sisters.
Is Vivian related to Vivi?
No.
Because they look a bit like Vivi.
No.
Okay.
Vivian is trans, which for a Nintendo game is fucking mind-blowing.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that Vivian was always trans in Japan. So in the original Japanese release, Vivian is a trans character. I think there are certain territories where in the translation they kept it in.
Italy.
Yeah, that's one. I think maybe France might be one as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But I know in English language and German, I think as well, they basically changed in the GameCube release. They changed Vivian, so she wasn't a trans character. And it was just
weird, because you imagine
they sort of made a joke of it, and it's just really not great.
It's weird. You'd have imagined it. You'd imagine it be the other way around. Like Japan tends to be a little bit more conservative with things like this, but maybe when it comes to trans people, they're not as much. I don't know.
Well, this is the thing. Like, I think Japan has a different relationship with gender and cross-dressing, and I think in some games it is a joke, and in some games it's not, and it's a bit more complicated than that. Obviously, a load of trolls have come out now to be like, "Oh, Vivian's not trans. She's never been trans. What are you talking about? This is a Japanese thing." To your point of Japan's
no, that's what I saw, and
but...
it was the amount of the reaching that some people, the internet people that want to eradicate all trans people from society, are doing to kind of like make out that no, she was never trans, never, ever. It's like, oh, she just had. It was a type of this word. I don't know what it is, but apparently there's something popular in Japan where boys dress as women to kind of convince them and to kind of trick other people. And someone was like, that's literally been like the last 5 years. It's been a thing. There's been a word for it in like the last 5 years. It's like, this is an old game. And also like, oh no, she was a cross-dresser. It's like the amount of reaching that people are doing and trying to rewrite history. And if there's a trans character, there's always been a trans character. And now the trans character is in the remake. You should be, if you're so happy about, your game not getting any, getting the translation correct, and about your authenticity of what the original vision of the creators of these games are like whenever a game gets slightly modified, like there was the transphobic thing in Persona, wasn't there, that got edited out, or that they changed slightly and people were kicking off because they didn't want to play a censored game. Well, it's like now you're playing the uncensored version because this is what the original is like, yet they're still angry for some reason. It's almost as though they only like that it's just bigotry and hatred of minorities that is kind of guiding their principles, and not actually the real intent from a video game, and an anti-censorship thing.
Funny that
they do want censorship. They want censorship of things that they don't agree with.
Yeah, and that's not how the world works, I'm afraid.
So go fuck yourself.
Yeah. So essentially, this remake, they have done a new translation that is more accurate.
A translation.
I definitely did that on purpose. Which now takes the original Japanese more authentically. And so now, globally, Vivian is trans, and she's an icon.
And there are lots and lots of people, lots of trans people, lots of queer people and allies who are like happy with this. And
Absolutely.
a lot of trans people seeing a trans character in a game as popular, and it's a great game, apparently.
It is.
Then, like, that is a really cool role model. Like, why would you look at that and go, no, I hate that. I hate that these people are seeing happiness of seeing themselves represented in a game, in one game in like a million from Nintendo.
Yeah.
When the other people, well, things like to the uber privileged, equality seems like oppression.
Yep.
Sorry, I just get random. I'm going politics again, aren't I?
You are. Well, I guess
hate injustice.
this was our last headline, so I guess we're bookending the podcast this week with some politics for you all.
Politics. Go and vote. Well, don't go vote yet because it's a bit too early, but
Yeah, a little bit.
register to vote, get your ID, and if you are not in the UK, don't vote because that's illegal and you won't be able to
Well, no, do vote, but just vote in your own election.
vote. Yeah, exactly. Always vote because it is very important. And especially there are people in power who are desperate to disenfranchise. There's my yes. I'd hate that disenfranchise so much. It brought my dinner up. That like if you look around, the world's getting worse. I'm happy that I won't be around for that much longer. And yeah,
Wow, that's a nice thought, Ben.
I was thinking if I was like 15 now, I'd be like, oh God, I got to live here for another like 70 years in this shithole, and the world's just getting worse and worse.
What a cheery thought to end on. How about we, revolt and revolutionize the world and make it a better place?
By not banning, but the glimmer of hope that I see in the future of civilization is that the Gen
Z?
Are they the really young ones?
I mean, they're younger than us, so let's say yes.
Gen Zers tend to be kind of shunning Twitter and that kind of social media, and and they're just making memes and funny stuff on TikTok. So that is
lots of porn.
Well, I hope they're not making that.
Well, that's what I keep seeing on TikTok.
Porn?
Well, basically, yeah.
Oh, I'd never get that.
No.
I get people falling over.
My algorithm has gone a bit haywire.
We need to forward them if they're appropriate.
No.
Wow. I never get that. I just get people falling over in true crime documentaries split into like 20 parts.
The latest one I've had is this guy who looks after little quails and chickens.
Oh, yeah.
So they're like tiny, tiny birds. It's just that he's always crouching in grey shorts. And it's very obvious why the camera is placed in a certain place. Yeah. And he's like, oh, look at the cute birds. It's like, no one's looking at that.
So you're watching the whole thing, are you? Do you follow him? Is that why it's appearing?
No.
That's why it's appearing on your feed all the time.
And you're like, oh, okay. Oh, I see why people are doing that. Okay, sure. Scroll. And then it just keeps coming back.
No wonder you spend so much time in the bathroom when you go to the toilet. Well, I'll send some my way so my algorithm isn't just 20-part.
I'd like to get rid of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's not what
I'll send you some more like news bloopers and things like that my algorithm's filled with.
Cute dogs and recipe ideas and where to go in Japan. That's what it used to be about 3 weeks ago. And it's suddenly become porn.
Well, on that note, where can we find your porn?
Don't do that. But you can find me at ed_nights.
Are you on TikTok?
No.
No,
well, I mean, I have an account, but I don't make any videos.
It's an alt.
It's definitely not.
But no, yeah, you can find me at Biggest Benus 1 everywhere. Just go to swappingjoysticks.com and you can also watch and listen to all our previous things. We've got some videos coming up. I've just, I've sent all the details for our new logo and some exciting things. And the next episode that we're going to be releasing is probably going to be at the weekend or early next week. And it will be separate. So Ed will be in the other room and he'll be using
some new stuff.
Including a new microphone, the Wave Neo. So we will be he'll be using the Wave Neo in the other room so we can see the quality of that. Huge thank you to Elgato for sending it. And you'll see the quality of that. And it's so like nice, kind of smally packaged. And it's all very minimal. Very minimal, but like it's so kind of compact. If people go on like holiday or stuff and you want to have a decent mic and cam setup, you can go and use it. But we will be looking at that. I will be testing that out early next week. But yeah, there will not be a podcast at the regular time next week because
I'm away. I can't say where I am, but I'm away.
He's not in London. I'm going to have a lovely... Maybe I'll do a podcast myself and just talk to the camera.
It's called Twitch.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe I'll replace you for a night. We'll get someone else in.
Someone better.
Oh, where do I start? I don't know.
Literally anyone.
No, that's a lie. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. And yeah,
See you
That's
next
it.
time.
Bye.
Bye.